The FIDE World Cup 2023 is becoming more and more exciting for Indian chess fans. The reason? Well, our young talents are doing exceedingly well, and it's an absolute joy and pleasure to follow their games. They are fighters, they do not give up, they are uncompromising, and Gukesh is one of the prime examples of that. In round 5, he was up against the very strong Chinese grandmaster Wang Hao. Wang Hao is a former candidate player. He's played the candidates. In 2021, when the candidates ended, he announced his retirement, but in 2022, he was back to playing chess. Currently, he's rated 2709. Very solid positional player, but Gukesh managed to play some amazing chess and he beat him. With this victory, if you see the picture above, Gukesh has reached an ELO of 2761.5. He's gained 10.5 ELO points here and he has become world number 7. He has surpassed Anish Giri and that is just phenomenal. Uh, I'm going to analyze this game and show you the key moments on it, but I'm also going to ask you questions, so you can continue watching this video here, or you can also check it out on Chessranga, which is ChessBase India's interactive platform. And here you can actually, whenever the question is asked, the video will be paused and you can make a move, and that can be very useful. The link to this game on Chessranga is in the description and also in the pinned comment. So let's get it cracking. Gukesh with the white pieces opens the Gukesh with the black pieces. Wang Hao has white. Wang Hao opens the game with d4. Gukesh goes knight f6, c4, e6, knight c3, and we have the Nimzo Indian defense. Queen c2, d5 was played, cd, ed, and now white played the move bishop g5. So white is pinning the knight here. Gukesh plays h6, asking a question. The bishop goes back, castles, e3, and now Gukesh plays the move c5. This has been played before. In fact, it has been played in 140 games. And here d takes c5 is one of the main moves, kind of transposes into a position that is well known and has been played by many top players, including Garry Kasparov, Mamedyarov, and all, with the white pieces. Gukesh now goes bishop e6. His idea is that he wants to go knight d7 and pick up the pawn this way. So knight came out to f3 and he played knight bd7. And here there are two ways to play this position. One is that you let black take back this pawn and then you have an isolated pawn to play against, or you push your pawn to c6, which is what Wang Hao did, and give black the hanging pawns, and these pawns can become strength as well as weakness. Bishop e2 was played, and now Gukesh went queen a5. So he's putting pressure on c3 and also coming out of this pin here. White castled, and now Gukesh thought it was the right moment to take. Because if you don't take here, then maybe the knight can already jump here, or the rook can come to c1. Then later a3, b4 can come about. So he took, pawn takes, and now white has the bishop pair, but a slightly weakened pawn on c3. Gukesh played knight to e4. Interesting move. And I was expecting Wang Hao to play the move c4 here, which would have been similar to the game, but slightly more accurate perhaps. Rook fc1 was Wang Hao's choice, and now Gukesh went c5. White played c4. For me, what was very interesting to understand from this game is that it feels like c4 is such a good move for white, right? You are getting rid of your weak pawn, and so after, let's say, rook a b8, which Gukesh played, if you take on d5, then I take back, bishop d5, and the position looks completely even, or you can say position looks completely better for white. Why do I say completely better? Because you have two pawn islands while black has three, and white also has the bishop pair. But what is very important to note is that black has a passed pawn, and this should not be underestimated at all. So in the game, maybe Wang Hao played this move knight e1 and the engines like it, but Gukesh says that in his interview that this move is when he thought Wang Hao was starting to go wrong. And this is where Gukesh played the move queen a3. His idea is to perhaps just move in with the rook, cd, bishop d5, and now comes queen to d3. He took, and if you take with the knight, then the problem is that there is g5, bishop g3, you take and push the pawn to c4, and black is already doing pretty well here. So he took with the bishop, and his point was that after g5 he wanted to play, if bishop g3 he wanted to take and play bishop e6, stopping bishop f5 business, and then you go rook fc8. I think this is already a very pleasant position for black. But he went for the move bishop e4, takes, and bishop g3. And here, most of the people thought that this game would end in a draw. But Gukesh thought otherwise, because his bishop is well positioned and he has a passer, his knight is fine, and his next move was very nice, rook b7. This rook defends the knight here and doesn't get tempted by any such opportunities like rook b2, because there's nothing much happening there. f3, bishop dropped back, rook d1, and now you place your rook behind your c pawn. e4, Wang Hao tries to block the bishop here on g6, c4, the pawn starts to roll, knight c2, c3, and here Wang Hao played the move rook d6. Now at this instance, I would like you to pause this video and think, what is a good idea for Gukesh here? It's black to play. So one of the ideas of Wang Hao with rook to d6 is that he doesn't want black to play f5, right? Because the bishop would be hanging. And so Gukesh here found a very nice move, which is knight f8. And with this move, the knight does a very important role, which is to defend the bishop for the time being, and then later also go f5, and also the knight can jump to e6, and then eventually these good squares. Wang Hao played rook c1, and now it's time for you to think again, what should black play? Yes, if you have said A, you must say B, and so the move here is f5. Fantastic move, striking in the center. One of the things to notice here is that if you take on f5, I take bishop f5, and it is not such a wise decision to go after such a pawn here, because I take, rook takes, and already now check, king here, and a winning move, rook b2. The queen cannot be stopped. You take, I take, and the pawn is queening. So it's getting very intense there. After f5, Wang Hao played the move rook d4, which was not a good decision. Gukesh could have actually played fe, and knight e6, getting his knight into the game. And after something like rook a4, there is rook b2. And after rook b4, there is take, bishop e4. And black is totally winning. But Gukesh first went knight e6 for taking. And then after rook b4, it's your move once again. What should black play in this position? Black to play. Gukesh really understood the intricacies of the position well, because you could be tempted to take here and win a pawn, but it's not a good move because white now has knight d5. Fantastic move, threatening a fork here and also the pawn. So if you were to play rook c5, takes, this is great drawing chances for white. So that's the reason why the right move here is rook d7. This is a very strong move, taking control of the open file here. Just trying to let you sink into this position, the bishop is opening up, the rook is coming in. You can see how from an equal position Gukesh is grinding it into a winning position. Knight e3 was played. Now Wang Hao is putting pressure on f5, so Gukesh took here. Also very tempting was the move f4, and this is not a correct move because after knight d5, king f7, you have to do this because otherwise knight f6 check swoops the rook. So king f7 and bishop e1, already white is fine. So you have to be careful. He took, pawn takes, and now your next move. What is the best move for black here? Not at all easy, not trivial. But you want to play c2, but the knight and the rook control it. So you need to get rid of one of the pieces, and rook d3 makes a lot of sense because now the e3 knight is hanging. And king f2 seems like the best decision, but there is rook f8 check, and then king e2, there is rook d2 check. And already this is totally winning because after king e1, there is bishop h5, and you can simply take this here. If white were to take here, then rook e2 and give a discovered check. I have one question for you, an additional one. He went in the game bishop f2, but what would have happened if you play knight d5? What is the winning move here for black? Yes, the winning move here is c2. This is a very powerful move. And after knight e7 check, king, here you have to be slightly careful. King f7 seems like a natural move, but it is not the best because after take, check, king here takes, rook c4, bishop e4, there is knight d6 check, and white is fine. But if in the same case you had gone king h7, then after takes here, takes, rook c4, I can take, and now there's no knight d6 check, and this is winning. So c2, knight d5, c2 is winning. He played bishop f2, and in came knight f4. Very powerful move. Threatening knight e2, check. He went king f1, rook came to d2. Sorry, if king f1, rook d2, he went rook c2, rook d2, h3, knight jumped in, attacking the rook and the bishop. Rook takes, pawn takes, rook d4, and now came a check, and he picked up the bishop, and here he had to resign just to show that knight f1 is impossible because of the take. There is also queen, and so that's the reason why king h2 was played. And now after knight f2, Wang Hao resigned, and Gukesh managed to win this game. A very, very nice game. And in fact, it's also very interesting to see how Gukesh managed to sort of convert this kind of equalish position into win. Like first starting with this move knight f8, or you can even go further back by firstly sort of creating this c passer here, and then just pushing the pawn, then getting the knight back, pushing f5, then activating the, not exchanging the rook, getting in there, rook d3. I mean, it was an amazing game. I hope you liked it. Gukesh needs a draw in the next round, in the next game, to qualify to the next round, which is the quarterfinals of the World Cup. And if Magnus, who's beaten Ivanchuk in the first game, also goes through, then it will be Gukesh versus Magnus in the quarterfinals. We are very excited for that. And let's hope he does his best.